Good morning and happy Sunday, everyone. I went to church this morning. On my way back, I had to take my sweater off because it was warm. It was 75 degrees when I got out of church. And my husband was sweet enough to bring me Big B, but this is not coffee. This is London Fog, and I love a good London Fog. If you don't know what a London Fog is, it's basically Earl Grey tea with, I don't know if it's the true London Fog, but it's the American version. And it is Earl Grey tea, steeped, I like it strong, and then some kind of milk. I have almond milk in mine, so I love the almond milk in it. It's so delicious. There's no sweetener in it. I like it just the way it is. If you've never tried a London Fog, make one. It's good. Trust me, it's good. So today we are doing something with some stretch cord, and notice I don't have my watch on because I haven't made a watch band in a long time. So we are going to make one today because I need one to go with me on vacation in some of those bright, fun colors. And I thought, you know what? I haven't made one in a long time. And I know there's tutorials out there and everybody has like a little spin on what they do and everything. But I just want to show you how I make them. And it's super simple and super easy. And it does take a little bit of coordination, I guess, of the stretch cord and some measurements, but don't be discouraged. If you don't have an Apple Watch, there are adapters like this that you can find for every watch on Amazon. So as a matter of fact, I just ordered a couple more, and I ordered some that actually have like the little sparkly stuff on there. So if you have a smartwatch or a regular watch and you just want to Google connector parts for whatever your watch is, you will find them, and they are great. They're not very expensive. I think the ones I have here I got in a multi-set of different finishes. I think it was like 4 for like, I don't know, 20 bucks or something like that. But if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, buying a new watch band is more than that, right? So if you wanted to do something that's fun and for yourself, like here, I'll show you one that I made a while back, and I wear it every now and then. And it probably needs to be cleaned because it's a little bit of a hot mess. And yeah, so I made like a pearl and, you know, off-white one, and yeah, look, it needs to be cleaned. It's it needs to be cleaned really bad. So I do have it and I do wear it every now and then, but today I'm going to make one using the Curated Bead Box Sunshine Lollipops to go with some of the jewelry that I made. So our vacay jewelry. So I'm going to turn you around and I'm going to give you some ins and outs on specifics, because this is kind of size specific, and I'll give you like an idea what you need to do to find out what size you would need for your own watch. All right, so let's do that part first. I'll show you what I got going on down here, and then we'll start making it shortly after that. I'll be right back. Okay, you have never ever seen me use this, and you can tell that I don't use it very often because it is dusty, you guys. It is super dusty. So the reason I'm using it is because this has to be very specific to what you need for your size. So I took my watch off of its band, and so you'll see I just have my face here. I don't have any connectors on it because my watch is one of these bands and it doesn't have any connectors. So I'm going to use connectors that I bought, and I thought I'd use the gold tone. I do have different faces. I need to find them, little covers that go over the faces for different, if you want different finishes, but I'm not too worried about that right now at this time. So the thing that you're going to want to do is you want to find out how big this is with like the connectors on. So you can just kind of place the connectors kind of somewhat underneath right where they would be. All right. Can you see that okay? Let me go in a little bit further maybe. There we go. All right, and then you're just going to want to measure that. So I'm going to use my handy dandy tape measure just so I can show you guys real quick. So using the inches, I have, this is 2 inches complete. So also using this and measuring my wrist, I am almost 6.5 inches. So like 6 3/4. So I'm going to make this to be, 6 1/4. I'm going to make this to be like 6.5, because if you think about it, you put the beads on. I do like my watches to fit a little looser. I don't like them to spin or anything, but I do want them to fit somewhat looser. I don't want to strangle my wrist. So I'm gonna make my strands at 6.5 inches. All right, so now, let me zoom back out a little bit. Whoop, that's in. So now I am using this because I know that I need to take 6.5 inches. I need to subtract 2, so I know my bands need to be 4.5 inches. So I've already measured out these little trays. I've got the beads from the Curated Bead Box Sunshine Lollipops along with some of my own spacers. And then I'm turning this spacer upright so that I can measure this appropriately, if I can get it to cooperate. Oops, come on. And now it's gonna be, you're not gonna get an exact measurement, but you're gonna get really, really super close. So as you can see, I started this at the 1. There's 1, 2, 3, oh, 1 inch, 2 inch. Did I not do this right? Hold on, you guys. We're gonna remeasure everything because I need to add some beads. Start at the 0. And all right, so don't tell anybody that I don't know how to measure things, okay? Because this is for your eyes only, your comedy only, okay? So good thing I have extra beads. So let's fix this real quick. And see, I thought I was being really good, being ready, but this is what we do, right, guys? We see the errors of our ways. All right, so let's grab another of my spacers. I just have this like random spacer container here. And so these actually came from a previous Curated Bead Box. These clear, like frosted glass ones came from a previous one. So now we are kind of close, but I think one more bead would put us right there. All right, so now for real, this is the correct size. And now don't be discouraged if you see that there's like something off here. It's gonna happen and it's okay. I just didn't want to add little tiny spacers to the ends. I like it to be bigger all the way up through the top. So, and you can use any size beads for this. You can use 4mm, 8mm, 6mm, whatever you choose. You can use those big, chunky, awesome beads from Jesse James Beads if you wanted to. You can use all kinds of things. So don't think that you have to use just 6 or 8mm beads. You can use whatever you want. And you can make all the strands different sizes. It's absolutely fine. All right, so now let's remeasure this stuff because I know that I mismeasured. And, you know, I kept looking at it, I kept thinking, you know, that seems awfully small, but I wasn't questioning my measurement until I got on camera. So let's, let's figure this out together, shall we? Let me move it to the 0. You know what, if I didn't have one thing like this happen each time I turn on the camera, maybe I did measure these right. Maybe it's just that last one I didn't measure right. Let me see. Guys, I measured this one correctly, except for I think I have an extra because I have some spacers I want to put in. And spacers do matter, you guys. They take up room, so just remember that. Always important. If you need to measure, you measure with your spacers. All right, so this one was actually pretty correct. I just have this extra guy here, and I'll toss him off to the side. All right, let's just double check the rest of them to make sure that I did actually measure all of them correctly. I can add beads or take them away, whatever I need to do. I feel so silly. But you know what? I feel really good that I can do those kind of things in front of you guys, and it's really not a big deal. You guys probably just laugh and say, yep, that sounds about right. I've done that too. Just goes to show that, you know, we all make our mistakes, and it's all good. Watch it be the only one that I did not measure right. And I could have just saved us all from grief had I just measured right. All right, so this one, if we did a spacer here, and we don't need one of those spacers, so we could do it here. Yeah, that'll look good. Okay, so far it looks like that's the only one, the one that I got on camera first thing, you guys. Oh my goodness. All right, last one, let's measure it and make sure we have everything before I remove this and use our actual beading mat. Okay, yep, I got an extra one of those too. All right, so let's put some of these in real quick. And I'm just placing them wherever because at this point it doesn't really matter. Oh, okay, we just know it's gonna go there. All right, so everything else is good. All right, moving right along. Other things that you're going to need for this, besides your little connectors here, you're going to need your beads and whatever spacers you want to use, whatever colors you want to use and sizes. You're going to need your E6000 jewelry and bead glue. Definitely going to need that. If you can hear that outside, I am so sorry, but I have the windows open because it is gorgeous. And hopefully they won't have to do yard work for very long. Hopefully it's not very bad. So I got my E6000 out, and I also have my stretch cord. Now, you're doubling it up, so you're gonna wanna use like 0.5 millimeter stretch cord. So I cut 4 pieces at 12 inches before I stretched it, okay? So I haven't stretched it, like did a pre-stretch or anything. So I have 4 pieces of stretch cord at 12 inches each. Okay, so you're going to use a total of 48 inches. And we're just going to pre-stretch our stretch cord. We can do all 4 at the same time. And the reason we do this, if you're new to using stretch cord, is over time, your stretch cord will get a little bit bigger because it'll stretch with the weight of the beads and being around your wrist. So the one thing to do to prevent that from happening so quickly, because over time it will happen eventually, you want to pre-stretch it so that way it doesn't do that initial stretch while you're wearing it. You know what I mean? So it'll give you that, it'll be the right size, basically, is what I'm trying to say. All right, so just a little bit more here. And you just need to stretch it a little bit. All right, so now I got them stretched. They're all pre-stretched. And I'm gonna pause this, move this mess away from here and get my mat out, and we're gonna start going. Okay, the only thing I can recommend to you is if you are using different size beads, have your larger beads somewhere towards the center of the bracelet. I only have 1 strand that's gonna be larger beads, so I'm gonna do it as like my second or third strand in my watch. So you have your pieces, and it looks like this, right? So this will wrap around your wrist, and your watch, these will connect into your watch, and it'll be a stretch cord. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our stretch cords, and we're going to just loop that in here and bring both ends together like this, okay? We're gonna double these up. So let's go ahead and start feeding on our beads. And we're gonna go ahead and put on, I think like 3. Maybe I should close that back window. Is that driving you guys crazy? I wish you could answer me. All right. Oh, come on. All right, so 3 of those. Hold on, so we got 3, 4, 3. Okay, yeah, so let's do 3, a spacer, one of our little daisy spacers. And then let's do 4. Okay. I probably haven't made a watch band in 2 years. Like, it's been a long time. So I'm due for a new one. And instead of buying a new one, I'm just gonna make my new one so it goes with everything I have that I'm gonna be wanting to wear it with. All right, so we got this spacer on. All right, and then let's put on these 4 and not the spacer yet. Okay, still stringing on 2 strands here. But then we're going to get to a point where we're going to split these 2 apart, and that is going to be right after I get this bead on. All right, so we're going to split this apart, and you're just going to give yourself a little bit of pull here, okay? Just a little bit. And then, you know what, let's put the spacer on. Let's put the spacer on real quick. I forgot, because that ends up being kind of funky where we end up tying it. So let's do that real quick. And so now we have it split apart, all right? Now we're gonna put the rest of our beads on the single strand here. And you're probably wondering, what are you doing, right? Well, just hold on, you'll see. I promise you, you'll see. This is the best way to hide a knot that I could think of. And this is what I saw on a tutorial a long time ago. And I don't remember who I saw it on, but I learned it from watching somebody else. Okay, so now once you do that, you have this stretch cord going through this loop, okay? And you have your other one right here, and you have your beads on a single strand. Well, we're gonna make this a double strand, so we're gonna go ahead and put that stretch cord through there, through that bead, through the next bead, up to where we meet, where we split our beads to begin with, okay? Oh, come on. Now you could just tie your knot at the end and, try to tuck it in your end one, but I find it just hides easier if you put it somewhere in the middle of your band. All right, so now we have both of these. And so now you just want to give it a little more stretch again, because you're going to want to tie this. So give it just a little more stretch. Okay, just make sure that this is gonna be good. All right, so once you do that, you're gonna wanna tie it. And this is where it kind of gets like a little difficult, right? So you wanna tie it. So just giving it a good pull and bring it down, okay? And let's do it again. This time let's do like a little surgeon's knot. So 1 and 2. All right. Just make sure it's tight, nice and tight. Okay, so now we have it right there. All right, I'm not gonna put any glue on it right now. I'm gonna save that to the end, and I'm just gonna trim off my pieces. I'm confident in my knot that it will stay for now, but I do want to put some glue on it before I wear it and let it dry really well. And then I'll hide the knot as well. All right, but for now you can just like tuck that knot in there, or if you use a bigger spacer, it can go underneath your spacer. So right now, let's pretend you don't see the little pieces sticking out, because I am going to want to glue it. All right, so there's our one, and this will stretch. We are good there, it will stretch, so you don't have to worry about that. All right. And then our next one, I want to use these, all right? Remember I said I wanted to use the bigger ones kind of towards the middle a little bit. So let's just kind of lay these out and see what we have here. So we have 5 and we have 6. So let's do this, okay? Just try to get them evened up a little bit. I'm getting a drink of my London Fog. That's delicious. All right. So we have our second strand here. All right, so I'm gonna show you one more on camera. I'm gonna do one off camera. I'm gonna come back for the last one, because then that will be kind of like our finishing touches as well. So let's go ahead and do this one. All right. Oh yeah, this is going to be really, really fun looking. I think that people will be like, where did you buy that watch band? I'm like, I made it. I'm like, Curated Bead Box. They'll be like, what is that? All right, so I have 13 days till I'll be in the Keys, and I am so looking forward to it. I basically have, so I'm off the Thursday and Friday before we leave on that Saturday. So I really only have next week as my last full week of work, and then I only work 3 days, and then I'm gone, and I come back to work on my birthday, which is May 3rd. I know that sounds silly, but I did it that way on purpose so I can just like be there on my birthday, because really, honestly, I don't want to be alone on my birthday. I'm turning 50, y'all. I'm like a little bit nervous about turning 50. And then, and then I'm off Saturday and Sunday, and my husband is going to have friends and family over to celebrate my 50th birthday. So I'm really excited about that. So you guys aren't going to get a lot out of me for the next couple weeks, which is why I'm putting so many into the queue for Chris now, which I'm going to have a talk with him and say, don't put them all out at once, kind of stagger them, because there's going to be some time where I'm not going to have any videos to share, because I have a lot of things going on because of the vacation and family and friends. All right, so we're right about the same spot to where we were here. And I want to try to keep all my knots in the same area so I can find them easier to put the glue on them and hide them. All right, so this is where we split it. And now you're going to want to pull, and you don't want to pull out the other one all the way, but give yourself a little bit of room to maneuver this strand, okay? So just giving myself a little extra strand there. All right, so now let's go ahead and feed on the last 3 beads on our single strand. Whoops. There we go. Now, the one thing I've never done is I've only done this with stretch cord. I've never done it with like regular beading wire or leather, which I'm sure you could do. So those of you who really like to create with leather and do like the wrapping, the bead wrapping on the leather, you guys have it in the bag. If you could figure out everything that you need to do to make that happen, you will, that'll be your next craft show item or your online store item, okay? Because people love to have different watch bands for their smartwatches. Why can I not get it through that hole? All right, so this is where I'm gonna grab something I think to help me out, or maybe I can just stretch it down enough. There we go. Oh, nope, we had it. We had it. Sorry for having my fingers in the way. There's really no other way for me to do this. Let's see. Somebody working so intently on their yard makes me feel a little bit lazy, like I should be doing the same, but no, it's okay. I'd rather do this. I'll get out there when I have to plant my tulips, because I got some tulips from church, and I have about 5 bulbs I need to stick into the ground. The blooms are gone on them, of course, already, but I need to stick them in the ground so I can have them for next year, and have some beautiful tulips in my yard. So I'll probably do that at some point next weekend before I go on vacation, and that way that's done, because we're going to also want to get the yard done and all that good stuff before we leave too. So I have a feeling we're going to be working our little tails off all next week. All right, so now I have it, and now we can go ahead and we're going to tie that first knot, and that's going to bring those 2 pieces together. If I can get it in there. Just a one time, okay, like that. Give it a good stretch. If you pull too hard, one of the pieces might snap back and hit your finger, so don't pull too hard because that hurts. There we go. One more. And just nice and tight. Okay, All right, so there is our second strand, and that is cute. All right, so now it looks a little tight, right? But remember, you guys, I'm going to stick this on and off my arm, and it's going to be fine. So I'm just going to cut these off kind of roughly here, just so they're not in the way. And I will put one more strand on, and we'll be back for our final one and all the other things that we need to do along with it, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I decided not to go with the clear because I wanted more color. So I got some more beads out of my Curated Bead Box. I got the blue ones. I only had 4 of these turquoise ones left. And I had the other smoky blue, but I figured that smoky blue looks good with it too. So I figured we'd just go with that instead of doing clear because I just wanted it to stay consistently colorful. So we have our beads here. And let's just kind of lay them out like we did the other ones and just kind of, see, this one looks like it's kind of bubbling up a little bit, and it probably is, but that's okay. Once I get it on, it'll all kind of even out a little bit, and over time it's going to stretch a little bit more. So if it looks tight like that, it's going to be okay, and it'll be fine. So let's get that on there. I've made enough of these that I know it'll work out okay. So let's do... here and here, and then one in the middle here. Okay, that's how we have it. So here's my last strand. Just give it a couple more little tugs here. And of course, I probably could have actually taken out the spacers and it would have been fine, but I just think that I know from experience that these will stretch a little bit more, and I don't want it to be so like where you could see any of the elastic. I don't really want that. All right, so I guess I didn't discuss the importance of using 0.5. So 0.5 millimeter, most of your beads have a 1 millimeter hole. So if you double up a strand of 0.5, it should fit most beads. So we always want to double this up because you're putting it on, you're taking it off, you're putting it on, you're taking it off. You want to give yourself that extra insurance of having a double stretch cord, which I know that even, you know, some people with bracelets like to do double strand too, which is not a terrible idea, you know. You could also, if you don't wear watches, you can also do the same technique with like a 3 or 4 like link bar, right, to make like a bracelet. So you can also do that. So even if you don't wear watches, you can still use this same technique of how we're stringing these beads on with the stretch cord to make yourself a stretchy multi-strand bracelet. You just have to sit down and measure out what you need to measure out, and it would be really cute, honestly, if you did a multi-strand stretch bracelet. And maybe that's something we can visit down the road too. Do some more stretch cord stuff. I haven't done stretch cord things in so long that I'm like, man, I need to do some of this stuff because, you know, it was one of the first things that I bought to do things with stretch cord because, you know, I can make a knot, I can cut this, you know, and I can string this on. I had no idea like sizes and strengths and all that stuff. I mean, I was just buying random things. I had no idea. I had to learn all that as I go. As far as stretch cord, elasticity is my favorite, but there are other great brands out there. I'm using the stretch cord from the Curated Bead Box. I don't know what brand they use, but it is working out just fine. So knowing that, I mean, you know, everyone will have their favorite that they like to work with for different reasons. They also have stretch cord that's more of like a nylon stretch cord, not so much like this kind of stretch cord, like it has some kind of like little fabric over it. That works out really well too. But yeah, and they have those in like several colors. So if you wanted something colorful, you definitely could use something like that. All right, so now we're gonna do one more bead and then we're gonna split this off into, if you remember, we split it off into 2 separate strands because right now we're stringing over both strands. And give myself another good little tug there. All right, so there's our last one on double for right now. And just giving that one just a nice little tug. Gonna loop that underneath our, nope, we're not, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We're gonna feed on our beads on that single strand, just like that. And then we will loop it on our watch band, okay? And once we do that, then we can put this back through these beads to make them double. I'm just doing one at a time. It's easier that way for me, until we get back to where our strands divided up into two. Easy, easy, easy. Whoop. See, it's not complicated at all. It's really, really simple. So let's go ahead and tie this one off. Give it a nice little tie to join our two ends together here. Okay, and then, let me make sure I have that in there right. Okay, and then we can do our surgeon's knot here. And just tie, make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, and now we can go ahead and cut off our strands. All right, and now you want to go back through and glue them. So here they are. And it may look like it's not going to fit anything, but once I get my watch face on, it will. It'll fit just fine. It's going to stretch. So let's go ahead and do that. One thing I always keep is I keep every receipt that I have from places that I end up getting online stuff from, because my E6000, the thing is all messed up. So I just squirt some out onto a piece of paper that I can throw away. And I just use a scrap piece. I save all my scraps for different reasons. This is one of them. All right, I'm going to trim this off a little bit more, being careful not to cut the cord because I'll send beads flying everywhere. And then we're just going to put a little dot of glue right on there. Okay. And then we can just slide our beads over top, and it'll stay inside that bead and it'll be good. So then next one, we'll do the same thing. If I have anything that's a little bit too long, I'll just trim that right off. Again, just be really careful you don't cut your actual strand, and you'll be starting all over again, and you might actually cry. So let's avoid all tears today, unless they're happy tears. Okay, so, and then we can go ahead and slide that bead right over top of our knot. There we go. Whoops, I missed it. I missed it. There we go. Oh, I went back through the other way too far. There we go. You can go too far on these. All right, and where is the one on here? Okay, it's right there. And again, I'm just going to trim off that little tiny chunk. There, okay. Then a little dab of glue. Don't need a lot. This stuff really works well. And then you can just put your bead right over top of that one. And where is my little knot for this one? Did I do it on the other end? Which is weird because, okay. Oh, there it is. I'm like, I already did a good job hiding that one. But you see what I mean now? Hiding them is like really nice because you don't see it at the end of where your watch is, and you don't want to see it. You want it to look as seamless as possible. So I'm just sliding that bead over top of that knot, and there it is. Oops, I made a mess. Okay. I wonder if there's anything else I need to do with glue right now. I should use that. Maybe I should glue something really quick. All right, so we have that made, and now we can go ahead and put my watch face on. So I was changing, I have to tell you guys a story, and it's so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. I was getting ready for work one morning, and I was changing out my watch band. And you know how these things are so delicate? Like if you hit the buttons too many times, it'll call 911 for you. And it called 911. And I know you don't hang up on it, right? She answered, and I did not hang up on her. And I said, I am so sorry. I said I was changing my watch band and I must have hit a button and it called you guys. And she's like, oh, it's okay. Believe it or not, it happens a lot. Let me just take down your information and make sure everything's okay. And I'm like, yep, that's fine. So she took down my information and I apologized profusely. And she said it was okay. It actually happens a lot. But that's just mortifying, you guys. It really is. All right, so here's my watch band. Look at how cute that is. And my watch is gonna look so cute on. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this, get this on for you, clean up my mess, and we'll talk for a sec. Okay, everyone, I did make it a little snug, but like I said, after wearing this a few times, it's going to stretch a little bit more. So I probably could have gone one extra bead on each one or something like that, and it would have been, but then I was afraid it'd be too loose. Like the other one I have right now, I made it to fit my wrist exactly, and now it's just too loose. So I'm gonna actually put this over something that'll keep the shape while I store it, and it'll let it stretch to that too. So I have a skinny glass that I can put it over. All right, everybody, I hope you really enjoyed learning how to make a watch band. It's a lot of fun, and if any of you come up with anything other than that, like doing leather, or if you know how to do leather, let me know. I would love to see what you've done, and maybe I'll buy one from you. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. God's blessings and everything. Bye, guys.